Hello and welcome to another model building workshop. I am Mr. Allen, coming to you on behalf of the Community Libraries of Providence here in my basement workshop. And today we're going to be looking at this interesting 1/72nd scale bomber. This is the Mitsubishi Nell bomber, as it was known by the Allies. This was a Japanese Navy long-range land-based bomber. This plane was known for having exceptional range during the early part of the war. And had a number of fascinating long-distance exploits. So this kit is the old ARII kit. It might be originally an LS kit, most likely, but when I bought it, it was, in this boxing with the ARII label on it. So these molds kind of get around a bit. So your parts breakdown is here. Now, I built this plane maybe about 10 years ago, I'm thinking. I just took it down to dust it and decided it's a good opportunity to talk about it, right? It's been hanging up in my basement for a while. So here's the assembly instructions, which are a bit busy, the way they kind of jump around here. Just a lot of numbers and diagrams, There are paint callouts there, and I think they're using Gunzi Sangyo paint colors. I will check that in a moment. There's more information on that on the back. But you get the entire assembly concept here. There are some options you can do on this kit in regards to what kind of armament you want to give it. Because you have a choice of torpedo or belly full of bombs here. So there are some interesting options you can do. And again, landing gear up or down is possible. This way. And you have 3 painting options here. Two heavily camouflaged and one less so. Yeah, it looks like these are Gunzi Sangyo paint colors here. And they have a explanation chart on the back as to what the colors are. Throughout the assembly instructions, they're just listed by number, but you have the key in the back that tells you what they are. Yeah. So you've got painting options of like a dark green over, let me see what that is. Yeah, over the gray, as well as camouflage like I did here with the brown and the green over gray. And the payload is pretty much up to you, really, how you want to do it. And the engines have that Mitsubishi kind of a blue-black color. I just went with black on mine. Now, I recall that the assembly was very straightforward on this. I don't remember having any problems. Please excuse the monofilament line I've got on this for hanging it on the ceiling. And just to point out, I've got the Imperial Japanese flag behind me, but that's not an endorsement for Imperial Japan by any stretch. It's just there to add to the video here. Yeah, so this is the one with one of the options with the green and brown, obviously. And I decided to go with the torpedo option. Although it's torn because they both looked interesting. Let me get some data on this plane. Excuse me. I have a book here, World War II Japanese Aircraft. Carrier Fighters to Tactical Bombers by Amber Books. This is a fairly recent acquisition of mine, and it does talk about pretty early in the book. Yeah, very early in the book. First plane in the book is the Nell and the Tina. So the difference between the two names, the nicknames, the Nell is for the bomber version, and Tina was for those that were converted to transports. Because as the war progressed, this plane was taken out of combat and then changed over to a transport plane. Not uncommon for some of these Japanese light bombers at the beginning of the war. So this marking option, I believe, is on the decal sheet. And this is the group that took on the Prince of Wales and the Repulse, the British battleships, and sank them. So that group, I believe, is on your decal sheet. I'll confirm that in a moment. And you have some other painting options in this book as well. There is another version of this aircraft that's made by ARII, an LS most likely, that is of the civilian airline version, which is, you know, obviously before the war, so that's another option that's out there that you may want to look for. If you're not interested in doing the military version, you do have that civilian version as well. So let's have another look at this paint chart, because I think, yeah, the first one here on the decal and painting options is, in fact, the group that went after those British battleships in 1941. So that option's there if that's of interest. So I tend to find, as you know from watching my channel, that I tend to find that these old kits are a lot of fun. Sure, they might miss some of the detail you get out of stuff nowadays. I mean, this has raised details instead of recessed details for the most part. But I still think it's a fun kit. I don't recall what I paid for it, but I don't think I paid much for it. I think I got this mail ordered. I think from Japan, probably. That didn't cost too much. If you can see any of the cockpit details. They're there. It's not a whole lot to it. I don't know what there is for engine details that you can see. But it's not unlike, say, like Revell or Airfix model kits from, say, the 70s. It would be of that type, or 80s. If you're familiar with those, this is in that caliber. And fun. Fun subject matter, different looking aircraft. Even though this had a rather historic impact during the war and did do some notable things, this is kind of a overlooked aircraft otherwise, really. So a lot of people don't know about this one. So, yeah, a fun kit if you can find it. I think the ARII name is still producing these. Not a bad kit. Okay, we'll see you next time on the Model Building Workshop. Keep on building. We'll see you.